All right, guys, welcome to the first ever Amateur Hour Sports Podcast. Your home for all things football. I'm your host, Trent, with my partner here, Jake. So just to give you a little background information on us two, we played football together all throughout Pee Wee through high school. I went on to play in college at Ithaca College, playing cornerback, and currently I'm living in LA, working for the NFL. I cut up, weekly highlight videos, social media stuff. You'll see it all on Instagram, and I share it on my personal Twitter account, and I'm sure we'll share it on our podcast account as well. So keep an eye out for that. And Jake, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Jake. So I played quarterback at VMI for 4 years, and I commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army. I'm currently out in Missouri for my initial training, and then I'm heading down to Fort Hood, Texas to serve my 4 years of service. So, but I'm an avid football fan. I've watched my whole life. Me and Trent have played together. We talk football almost every week. And I love studying the game. I love studying quarterbacks especially. So very passionate about football, and I like to bet football too. So
so we have over 20 years experience talking football. So we're really excited to bring this podcast to you. Get to share our thoughts on weekly games, players we're watching, MVP talk. And we're both Bills fans, so we're going to dive into Bills recap and Bills preview every week. We've been talking about doing this podcast. Well, it's week 13 for 12 weeks now. Like Jake said, we both love football. This is, our lives, my life. We both grew up playing. So this is, we're going to provide really insightful things week to week, and hopefully, break it down where, even the casual football fan would understand, what's going on in the NFL. So for today's podcast, we're going to start off recapping our top 4 games from last week, week 12, and then we're going to transition into Dino's QB corner, where he'll touch on 3 quarterbacks, one who's not impressing him, one who's impressing him, and then one to look out for in the future. And then that'll transition to our Bills recap and preview. So we're going to recap week 12 and preview week 13, the Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys. And then we'll end with a fun speed round of who you got. And, yeah, that'll about do it. Let's get right into it. All right, let's move on to talking about our recaps from Week 12. There are a bunch of good games out there. Let's start off with the Seahawks and Eagles. So Seahawks won this game 17-9. Russell Wilson, didn't have his best game, but, they relied on the run more this game and showed that they can do both. And, quick synopsis for the Eagles, they basically got nothing from Wentz. They had a lot of their top targets out. What was something you took away from that game?
One thing I took away was Rashad Penny. He kind of had like his little breakout game. They already have a back like Chris Carson, who's been pretty reliable this whole year. And Rashad Penny came out and had 14 carries for 129 yards. So I think that's the best game of his career. And that's huge because that gives Russell Wilson another weapon on the ground that, takes pressure off him. So that's one big thing I took away from the Seahawks. And the big takeaway from the Eagles is they got to get healthy. I mean, they're missing Alshon Jeffrey, Aguilar, and Jordan Howard. And those are your 3, best players on offense, skill players on offense. So, they didn't play as well as they could have, but then you got to look at, how their makeup looks like, this week. Right. So those are my biggest takeaways. Do you have like any, similars?
Yeah. So, I mean, that Rashad Penny thing's big because, they have Chris Carson, who I think is over 1,000 yards already this year, but he, getting another back involved is never a bad thing. And, for the Seahawks to be able to run the ball when Russell Wilson's not at his best and they can't get Lockett open or whatever, Metcalf, that's just another, like you said, another weapon for their offense. And if they can run the ball and pass the ball, they're going to be a scary team come, in a couple weeks in the playoffs. And then you flip it over to the Eagles. I mean, Carson Wentz had 4 turnovers total. He had 3 fumbles. He lost 2 of them, and then a couple picks. And sure, I mean, you could say he didn't have any weapons, whatever, but some of those passes, I remember seeing a video went viral of him just airmailing, like Josh Allen last year, airmailing a
Yeah.
running back out of the backfield on the swing. So it's, it might be concerning for Wentz moving forward. We'll see, I guess, how it goes.
You sure got to look at his confidence. I mean, he's been playing pretty mediocre to bad the past couple games. So you gotta think, how's that locker room around him, and it almost feels like in Philadelphia, as bad as this sounds, that somebody's just waiting for him to get severely injured before so that they can, use that as an excuse for his poor performance.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
my
even
take
move
on
on
that.
from him.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know. All right, so moving on to our second game of the week. Let's talk a little Patriots Cowboys. That one came down to the wire, more or less. Really sloppy game in those conditions. Cowboys struggled towards the end. They couldn't really punch the ball in, and Patriots ended up winning. What were some takeaways you saw from maybe the Patriots side versus Cowboys side?
Well, one of my biggest takeaways for the Dallas Cowboys was Amari Cooper's ineffectiveness in a big game like that. He was held to 0 catches, and he was only targeted twice in that game. I mean, he was playing against arguably the best cornerback in the game, probably not even arguably, Stephon Gilmore, who locked him down. But as a player as calibered as Amari Cooper, he should be able to, get some catches, prove his eliteness in this league. Only 2 attempts, that's tough. I mean, Dak Prescott was, not good. I mean, it is tough conditions when it's raining like that. I'll give him that. But a couple of times he forced the ball to Amari Cooper, which one of them led to an interception by Gilmore, where in Prescott threw it, off his back foot sidearm. So he's got to get a little better, knowing when to throw it and when to, tuck it. But that was kind of my main takeaway. It's tough to make any judgments on the Patriots offense with these injuries that they have. But we all know that their defense is carrying that team. So I'm pretty sure that wasn't a takeaway. We've kind of all known that. So, and their special teams, I mean, week after week, I mean, they talk about 33% for, special teams, and they're really using that 33% to help them win games. So whatever you got to do. But that's, my gist. I know you have some different, feelings.
Thinking back last week, looking forward to that game. I mean, we wanted to see how the Cowboys would match up against the number one offense of the Cowboys matching up against the number one defense of the Patriots. It sucks that game was in such poor conditions, but as far as the Patriots, I just think Tom Brady, I mean, week after week, he's just slowly regressing in my mind.
Yeah.
He did have some pieces out, but they're just, I mean, they only put up 13 points again in the condition. So, you and I were talking earlier. I don't know that we really learned much from either of these two teams other than Stephon Gilmore is just absolute lockdown.
Yeah.
But we already knew that. So
yeah.
I mean,
and another thing that I kind of skipped over was including special teams is the Patriots are missing Stephen Gostkowski. That's right. For sure. With Nick Folk missing 2 kicks.
Yeah, Nick
Gostkowski would have probably made those. He's pretty almost automatic. So that's something to note.
For sure. Talk about the coaching. So Dallas takes the loss. Jerry Jones, verbalizes his frustration with the coaching staff. How it's not turning into wins. And in the fourth quarter, down 7 points, Jason Garrett elects to kick a field goal when they're in the red zone. I think one of their few times in the red zone all game. And down 7 points, elects to kick a field goal, make it a 4-point game with 6 minutes left on the clock. I'm just curious your thoughts, because personally, I don't see why you would kick a field goal down 7 just so you have to score another touchdown. Like, if you're going to go for it, I would want to go out swinging if I were him. What's your take?
I definitely do not agree with that call. I mean, it shows that he is not aggressive enough as he should be. Jason Garrett is coaching like he's on the hot seat. I mean, he does not want to do something wrong. He's coaching very timidly, and that was a timid decision. You got to play aggressive. You're playing the number one defense or the number one team in the NFL statistically, and
Why not go for it?
why not go for it? I mean, you're gonna have to score a touchdown regardless of if you kick the field goal or not. So it just makes absolutely no sense.
It makes truthfully no sense. I don't get it still. Do you think Jason Garrett's on the hot seat after this?
Oh yeah, he's been on the hot seat for about 2 years now, in my opinion. But I don't think he has a job at the end of the year with the Dallas Cowboys. I think after comments like that from Jerry Jones, well respected and he makes his voice clear in the league. And if he's saying stuff about you like that, like there's not much of a chance you're gonna have a job. And I don't know if Kellen Moore will be the coordinator next year either. I don't know if this experiment with him is going well or not. So we'll see. I really especially don't think Jason Garrett will be there. So that's probably how it will be.
All right, moving on to our third game, 49ers Packers. 49ers got the best of the Packers, 37-8. Totally blew them out. What were your thoughts on the game?
Green Bay Packers, very disappointing performance. San Francisco's defense brought it all night, sacking Rodgers 5 times, flustered him. He wasn't able to get in a rhythm. He was throwing short passes, not really, taking too many risks. Devontae Adams, non-factor in the game. So I really thought that the 49ers defense played very aggressive. They were keeping Aaron Rodgers on his toes all night, hurrying him up, knocking him over, sacking. So that's kind of like, the formula, I guess, for Aaron Rodgers over the years. Get him on his feet, make him get out of the pocket, even though that's where he makes some of his best plays. He also, if you do it just right, he can't get into a rhythm, and he's flustered. He's a very emotional player, in my opinion. So that was one of my biggest takeaway. That's the chink in the armor for the Packers. They might not be as good as, we have been hyping them up to be, and especially what the record says. And I know you, for sure, had some thoughts, about the 49ers.
Yeah, for sure. I think this was a more impressive win by the 49ers than a disappointing loss for the Packers. I just think the 49ers completely dominated in all, 3 phases of the game. And to hold Aaron Rodgers to 104 yards passing is, that's incredible. Like that's unheard of. That's actually the lowest passing yards he's had in a full game since 2015. So that's a huge props to Robert Saleh and their defense. The Packers couldn't get their skill guys involved. Aaron Rodgers flustered. Well, I'm just curious as a quarterback, when you know you're going against a defense like that, a defensive line that will hurry you all game. How does that play with your mental capacity? Trying to read defenses, just knowing you're going to be in pressure all game long.
Yeah, most of the Aaron Rodgers, he's really good at pre-snap, and they, with the 49ers, Robert Saleh's defenses, he had really good, disguising his blitzes, his blitz packages, and when you get pressure, your pre-snap read, it might be one thing, and then you get pressure, and then it's tough for you to keep your eyes downfield, like you said, and that kind of throws you off. That's what I'm talking about, like keep him on his toes, because he's just trying to get somewhere where he can look downfield, because all his openings are, to step up or to look for a window to throw. He can't see, and that kind of like mentally, it just is like, all right, I need to just get in a rhythm, but it frustrates you so much when you can't. And so, like I said, with him being an emotional player, it can kind of get under your skin, especially with Rodgers and other emotional players who play at quarterback.
So flipping it over to the 49ers offensive side of the ball, I thought Garoppolo played a great game. I thought he managed it very well. He got the ball to his skill players and let them make plays. George Kittle had a huge touchdown. Same with Deebo Samuel, who was just blazing fast, looking like a great pick for them this year. So I know you're a big Kittle guy, and he was injured this week. So maybe talk about George Kittle.
George Kittle is establishing himself as maybe the best tight end I mean, the guy is tough. I mean, like he's playing on a partially fractured ankle right now, and he's got that speed. Like, I mean, he's got legit speed and great hands, and I'm pretty sure he can block the elite DNs just long enough, chip, do all the things that a tight end needs. And with that void of Gronk kind of leaving, and you got Travis Kelce in the league, but I think Kittle is way more reliable, and he's becoming a stud player. So it's going to be great to see with this, especially with this kind of team gelling, and they're kind of getting their groove, to see they're all establishing kind of their roles on the team, which is honestly, being like just a football fan in general is cool to see. And making strides from where they were last year to this year, it's pretty cool to see. And especially George Kittle. I mean, how many people do you know could play on a fractured ankle? Let's be real.
Yeah, I know. Not
and
many.
score and be a factor in the game.
Yeah.
So
he had a bomb of a touchdown.
Yeah.
So
I know
I think
you're set on Deebo Samuel. You're like
I love some speed. You can't ever have enough playmakers with speed on the outside. And I mean, just watching their highlight and seeing his breakaway speed. I mean, he caught the ball, in stride, great ball from Jimmy, but then he just pulled away from the defenders, and his speed carried him the whole way. So, yeah, great stuff from the 49ers, and they're sitting atop the NFC right now, and I don't know if there's a team who can knock them off, to be honest.
Yeah. For all you people wondering, Trent's always been a big speed guy. Always loved Marquise Goodwin and all those guys. Yeah, so he's since high school. DeAnthony Thomas, all those guys.
That's my boy too. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He I think he was signed by the Ravens recently. The Chiefs let him go. He never really turned out to be much, but
yeah.
I love me
special teams wonder.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and then our final game. Speaking of speed, holy cow! The Baltimore Ravens and the Rams played last night, Monday night. Just from the get-go, I mean, the speed was just the Ravens ran the ball all over the Rams. Yeah. Rams had no answer for it all game. What'd you like from Lamar Jackson last night?
The guy, I don't know what scout or what NFL GM went before the draft said that the guy can't throw and that he should be moved to receiver, but he made some freaking great throws looking off safeties. I think his second touchdown up the seam, his second touchdown pass up the seam, threw a great ball. Looked at safety to the left, threw to the right. Just a great ball. His first one to the left just set up the play action so well. I mean, he can throw the ball, and he's got a cannon. And he had that I don't know, it's like kind of on loop on Twitter right now. He's got that. He threw like a sidearm pass to Hollywood Brown. And he just like flicked it like with like his fingers, and it was
Mahomes-esque.
And it was like, there's two people who can throw sidearm now in the league.
So the Ravens just played an excellent game. I mean, Lamar had 5 touchdowns, but then you flip it to the Rams side. They could not do anything on offense. Much like the Packers, just really disappointing effort. And I'm starting to wonder if the NFL's figured out Sean McVay. I mean, take a look at these stats. Jared Goff, 212 yards, 2 picks. Todd Gurley had 9 touches for 19 yards. I mean, and he's their best player. If you're not getting your best player involved, I get the knee problem, whatever, but he's shown this year that he can handle a little workload. But to get him involved, 9 times and only get 19 yards, is McVay the one who should be in trouble right now?
Yes, I do. I definitely think the NFL has figured him out, and he's predicates himself on bells and whistles, play action pass. You can't run bells and whistles, motions, trick plays more than once because everybody figures that out. That's the easiest thing to figure out is trick plays. So then you got your play action passes, which they were great at last year. I mean, you had Todd Gurley playing at a MVP level last year, towards the start of the season at least, and basically he's non-existent now. So that's kind of, I mean, that sounds like I'm not blaming it on McVay enough, but like it comes down to coaching in a sense because he's not using Gurley like he was last year. There's something either up with Gurley or something up with McVay's confidence in Gurley, and that's the biggest issue. And I think people are starting to question his confidence in Jared Goff now. You know, because especially he's been playing like absolute crap. I mean, he played terrible yesterday, and people are going to start asking questions like, why isn't he playing to the level that you brought him to last year? Why did he regress this year? What did you do differently? And everyone's going to look to Todd Gurley because that's the only thing that has changed, really.
All right, now we're going to move on to our segment called Dino's QB Corner. We got the former D1 quarterback here who's going to break it down, one negative, one positive, and one quarterback he's looking forward to in this upcoming week. Take it away.
So actually, this negative quarterback performance comes from 2 weeks ago with Phillip Rivers through 4 interceptions. And basically, what I'm wondering is how long will it take for him to get pulled for Tyrod Taylor? How long will Anthony Lynn keep in Phillip Rivers? Because he's not signed for next year. I mean, he's an unrestricted free agent, I believe. Will they let him walk, or will they re-sign him for another year? He's an old guy and he's been with the team. What do you do? It's kind of ambiguous situation. So it's not really much of his history with the team. It's now. I mean, his team is struggling now. So what is he going to do this week? They play the Denver Broncos. So that defense we just saw with the Bills. They got a couple good cornerbacks. Their D line is solid. So let's see. And if he has a bad game, I think he will put in Tyrod Taylor. Anthony Lynn will put in Tyrod Taylor. So
yeah, let's not forget Anthony Lynn and Tyrod Taylor's connection from their Buffalo days.
Yep.
Anthony Lynn was running backs coach turned offensive coordinator, and Tyrod was the QB. So I think Anthony Lynn knows what he's got with Tyrod, and yeah, I would agree. I would think Chargers are 4-7 at this point. It could be like you said, Phillip Rivers last season. Why not see what you got with Tyrod? How he meshes with Keenan Allen, Melvin Gordon, Mike Williams is great on the outside. See what you got with Tyrod, and I like that. I think you could see a similar situation that just happened in Pittsburgh. Like if underperforming quarterback in the first half, I think you could see him pulled. Maybe put Tyrod in for a spark. Obviously, depending on how the game goes.
And Tyrod was with the Bills when they made the playoffs for the first time since the 90s. So it honestly, Tyrod Taylor is an established quarterback who's not just some random guy like Brandon Allen that you're throwing in or Mason Rudolph. He's an established playoff caliber quarterback. So you're not really. What do you to lose putting him in and seeing how he commands the field? Right.
So yeah, that's something to watch this week. And who's your positive QB for this week?
So this one's cool because we all know him as kind of he didn't really do anything.
Mediocre.
Yeah, mediocre when he was with Miami. But Ryan Tannehill, since he has started for the Tennessee Titans, he's now 4-1, and he's had over 100 passer rating in 4 of his 5 games. So that just shows you that he was the right fit for that team. And last week he went 14 for 18 for 249 yards and 2 TDs, and he also had 7 rushes for 40 yards. Not bad for
and another 2 TDs on the ground.
Yeah, so
4 touchdowns. I mean.
Yeah, so he really stepped up his game. He's been an absolute turnaround for the team, itching for a spark that ignited them, especially after a mellow start with Marcus Mariota. He's taken them to the fringe. They're in the hunt right now. So let's see if he can keep performing and ultimately get them that either wild card slot or their the AFC South spot. So. I'm interested to see how he plays this week, especially in
Yeah.
a big divisional game. So keep it up, Tannehill.
For sure. Yeah, big career change for him, honestly. Resurrecting his career for now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we have your up-and-coming player to watch.
All right, so guys, this one's kind of like cool. It's kind of personal to me. I played at VMI, played in the Southern Conference. My guy Duck Hodges, he played at Samford. We played him, or I played him 4 years. The guy is an absolute stud. I mean, I knew it from, the first time I saw his stats in the first game he ever played, and I was like, oh my God, this guy is ridiculous. And they ran a high-speed tempo offense there, and he's putting up big numbers. I mean, so playing him is tough because he'd always, put up some big numbers and explosive plays. But he was well deserving of his Walter Payton Award that he won, which is equivalent to the Heisman Trophy in FCS football.
Yeah, Duck Hodges was named starter this week for the Steelers, so it's been a big surprise, I would think, for the majority of the football community. FCS guy taking over for the Steelers. And I know you have a personal connection, so I'm curious if you want to tell our viewers what it is.
His brother, Duncan Hodges, went to VMI for 2 years, and me and him were roommates for our away trips to games. So we used to FaceTime Duck before his games and kind of got a little connection. Used to talk to him before games and after games. So it's pretty cool to see his success now, especially knowing that he was a very genuine guy, and you wouldn't tell that he's the superstar. Before games, he's joking around, just having a good time. He's got swagger and the moxie that you need from a quarterback. And when I saw that, he was cut at the start of the season, at the end of camp, and I was kind of disappointed. But when I saw that they traded Josh Dobbs to the Jacksonville, I absolutely knew that it was because they wanted to sign Duck. He got his opportunity, and that's all you need. So my biggest thing is with Duck. I mean, the guy is a gunslinger by trade. I mean, watching him play, I watched him play that Chargers game, and it just seemed like Coach Tomlin had him on a leash. It didn't help that they went up on the Chargers where he really didn't need to do anything special, but I really would like to see him, he's in the NFL, man. Just let him sling it. We saw a little glimpse of it last week against the Bengals.
Yeah.
But, I would love to see Tomlin just let it rip, just let him play. That'll be interesting, and it's definitely coming on a game that everyone's going to have eyes on because of the incident that happened last time they played. So this will be very, very interesting to see how it comes out.
Yeah, I like that. He seems like a great guy, and I mean, yeah, the spark that he gave him, his second throw of the game, that huge bomb to James Washington. You see his, like you said, gunslinger mentality and huge arm, accurate. So it'll be fun seeing him. They got the Browns at home. It'll be a hostile environment for sure, though. With everything that went on.
One of the greatest rivalries in sports, and it happens to be two young gunslingers going at it. So with Mayfield and Hodges. So we'll see how everything plays out.
Yeah, for sure. Both number 6. We'll see which 6 can pull it off.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to do it for our very first episode. Thanks for watching us. Thanks for joining Dino and I. We look forward to bringing this to you next week following week 13. Any last words for our people?
Yeah, actually. So I got two last thoughts. One is pretty relevant to a lot of New Yorkers and upstate New Yorkers. Carmelo, 25 points in his first game with the Trailblazers. It's big stuff right there.
Not his first game, but his best game.
His best game. And lastly, I'm growing out this mustache to donate to Men's Health. So, if you guys feel inclined, donate to Men's Health, whether it be men's prostate exams or testicular cancer stuff. Please donate as much as you can.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll put a link in the description for people to donate if they so choose. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
See ya.
Peace.